This is Lana with Lana Design for Spellbinders, and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing with wax seal of the month for the month of November, and take a look at these beautiful goodies that I have here. These are the beads that you are going to be receiving this month, and there are, I believe, 4 different colors of wax in this set. They're quite versatile. And here's this stunning 3D wax seal stamp. Look how beautiful this looks. Even though this stamp looks quite simple with clean and sharp edges, we're still going to create something quite colorful and unusual. Now, there is one thing I wanted to show you here, and that is this fabulous sealed glass mat that Spellbinders just released. And they also released this clear seal maker tool. If you would like to see this tool in action, I have already published a video. I'm going to link it down below so you can check it out and see how this tool works. But for today, I am going to use this awesome glass board, and I just absolutely love how sleek this one is. Now, for the sake of this video, I used this 3D embossing folder from the embossing folder of the month club, and I already embossed this card panel with it, and I also pre-cut and die cut this envelope with a old and retired, unfortunately, die from Spellbinders. I use this die quite often, and I'm not quite sure if it's available anywhere. I tried looking for it, but you are more than welcome to make an envelope by yourself. And these little note cards are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 if you would like to make it. I also pre-made some of these beautiful bows here. They're done with the 3D wax seal stamp included in this month. I also have some sentiments there, but I am going to now melt some of this wax, and I am going to show you how I actually created those little bows. And let's get going. Now, while my wax is warming up and melting, I am going to take all these bows that I created earlier, and I am going to create a cool background with it. So wherever you see this little dot here, that's where I'm going to put a little bow. And this is how I'm going to create my background. This is something completely different and unique, and it's going to give my background so much interest, and it's going to make it even more unique and original. And this is how the background turned out. As you can see, there's just a lot of details here. And honestly, I have never seen any backgrounds made like this. Now we're going to continue with wax seals, and I'm going to show you how I created this wax seal. It is going to be very simple. Trust me, you are going to be surprised how easy this is. For this, I am going to use these beads from the November release. It has enough colors to give me that little difference in colors. The first thing that we're going to do is use the lightest color and pour it directly on the sealing mat, and clean up the spoon, put it back on the burner, and simply stamp. And please wait for a few moments for this wax to set. And now let's see how this seal turned out. I'm gonna take off the stamp and use my spatula to peel it off. And of course, this does happen. It is okay. Don't freak out. It really isn't a big deal because we're going to be trimming the top of this cup, so it's not that big of a deal. I am just going to trim around this cup here, or this champagne glass, because I want the champagne or the liquid that it's in this glass to be a little bit different. All you have to do is put that piece back into the stamp and just firmly press. Next, I'm gonna grab different color wax. We just need a little bit, and I'm gonna pour it directly on the sealing mat and then stamp one more time, just like so. And of course, I'm gonna wait for that wax to cool down completely before I pull it off the mat. Okay, and let's see how this looks. I'm gonna get the spatula now. I'm gonna be a little bit more careful this time. And here we go. It is so absolutely perfect. Now I'm going to get a cutting mat and an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to trim around that cup, or what's inside the cup. I want the actual glass to be the same color as the rest of it. So I'm just taking this X-Acto knife and cutting that extra wax because I want everything to be the same color. And again, the more time you spend cleaning and trimming your seals, the more detailed your seal is going to look at the end. So I, of course, puzzle that piece yet one more time into my stamp. And now I'm pouring the same light color wax. And now I'm going to stamp it one more time. Okay, and let's see how this turned out now. This is absolutely perfect. You see how the drink in that little goblet looks different from the actual cup or a goblet or a glass, however you want to call it. And now I am just going to combine these two wax and create yet one more color, and this is going to release this spoon from additional wax, and I'm going to have a clean spoon to play with. Next, I'm going to grab some gold beads. These beads are also from Spellbinders, and I'm pretty sure you can purchase these beads on their website. And I'm going to let that wax melt, and in the meantime I'm going to trim this cup or a glass using these precision scissors, and all that extra wax that I trim off of this seal is going to go back into the melting pot. To get this seal to be extremely detailed, I am going to cut it in 3 pieces. The first is going to be this top piece of the cup. Now I'm going to trim all around it. Next, I'm going to grab this gold color and pour it directly on the glass mat, clean the bottom and put it back on a burner. And now I'm just going to stamp. You don't need a lot of wax for this, because what I'm going to do with that is use it for a bow. And here comes a tricky part, so to speak. Now I'm going to cut around the bottom part of the cup. For this, I am using an X-Acto knife, and this is an easy thing to do. All you need is a cutting board, and again, very nice and sharp X-Acto knife, and just go around the edges there and trim that wax, just like so. And you see, it's a very easy and simple thing to do. And now we have a complete glass there on my left, and I am going to do the same thing with the bow. The first thing I'm going to do is roughly trim the big pieces of this wax seal with a pair of scissors, just like so, and put the little pieces back into the melting spoon to remelt that wax and reuse it later. And then I'm going to use the X-Acto knife to trim the rest of that wax off. I'm going to go inside the bow where the tails are at and cut that little triangle between the tails with my X-Acto knife. Nice and easy. Now I can take this piece and pull it with my fingers, and look at that. Now my bow is all done. Now I have all of my 3 pieces ready to go back into the stamp. Before I do that, I want to show you something real quick. I have these little molds here. These are silicone molds that I got a while back, and you see those cute little paws right there that I'm pouring that extra wax in? Yes, these are the molds for either wax or for acrylic, whatever people are using. I use these for wax, and I love to pour my extra wax in these little molds here, let them cool, and put them back into the jar of wax. And that is how I am able to reuse and remelt my wax. And now let's continue on building the wax seal here. I am going to puzzle in all these little pieces back into the stamp, just like so, and press firmly so these pieces don't go anywhere. I am then going to puzzle in the bow and then the bottom of the little cup here, as you can see, and just try to tuck it in as much as you can, making sure that these pieces are in nice and tight and they are not gonna move anywhere. Just again, press as firmly as you can. That is perfect. And next I'm going to take this darkest color and pour it directly on the glass mat here, just like so, nice and easy. And then simply stamp. And now let us reveal the seal and see how it turned out. And it came right off the glass mat, and wow, look how cool this looks. I am absolutely loving this. Look at the detail, look how sharp that looks. And this is what I've been telling you all along. The more detail you put into cutting these little pieces, the more detail you're gonna get out of your seals. Absolutely beautiful. Now let's put the card together. And I put my card panel directly on my card base and attached it actually with some liquid glue. And now I'm thinking of adding sentiments underneath this seal. I decided to actually skip this step because it simply didn't look as good. I just want this wax seal to shine on its own. However, it was way too bulky to have it on top of these little bows, so I decided to yank these bows, so to speak, off of the cardstock. Now there is a little bit of damaged paper underneath, you can't really see it, but it's going to be covered with this seal. Just there, right in the middle, it's going to sit right on that paper, nice and even, and it's going to look just absolutely perfect. And no one's going to know and see those little imperfections. Please allow that glue to set for a few moments, and the card is done, as you can see. Absolutely perfect. And here's a little envelope. Now I also have this extra seal that can be put on the envelope. I don't know if I am actually going to use both of these at the same time like this, because it is a little bit redundant, but this is just to show you the difference in looks and how versatile wax seals can be. And here we are at the end of today's project. Today I featured this beautiful 3D wax seal stamp from Spellbinders. It is so stunning and so versatile, and this is the project that I created for you. Look at this seal. A lot of details, so precise and so nice and clean. And look at this other seal. It just looks so perfect and so delicate. Now, is this a little bit of a tedious thing to do? Well, maybe, but again, I keep repeating this. More detail you put into creating something, more detail you're gonna get out of it. And I hope you give this technique a try. Please don't give up on your wax seals because you never know what you're gonna come up with. They're pretty rewarding. Thank you big time for being here and making my day. Make sure to click on my affiliate links that are down below. That lets Spellbinders know that I sent you, and that will help me create more cool stuff for you, and we get to experiment with more fun things. Thank you for being here with me day after day, month after month. Really appreciate you. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to let me know. If you have any questions regarding this video, I would love to hear your input on all of this. And once again, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon with something new. Till next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.